Hi, and welcome back to the Cuzzy Sound channel. In this video what I'm going to do is talk you through the Troika patch that I set up for the Christmas video that I put out earlier. It's basically, the patch has got three elements to it. First one is the rhythm, which is provided by kick drum. The second one is a drone chord. For that one I'm actually using 3 VCOs, and then thirdly we've got the actual lead part which plays the melody. In this patch I use modules from both my Project 12 modular analog synth and my Project 9 modular analog synth. For each of the sounds I'll show you what modules are employed and how the patch is put together. Then we'll listen to what that sounds like, and then at the end I'll put it all together and you can hear what the overall effect is. Hopefully it'll give you some ideas as to how you can use some modules in your own patches to create a particular timbre in the sound or whatever. It's modular. Anything goes. So yeah, let's take a closer look at how I put it all together and hear what each bit of the track sounds like. As I just said, the patch is in 3 parts. So we're going to start with the kick drum. This is the kick drum module. Very simple, there's nothing complicated going on here. This is the trigger input. This is coming from the gate out on the beat step. The beat step, the clock is just kind of running at default because I'm going to play live along to the clock, so I don't have to time things in, and the drones are just droning. So this is it. This is the decay and the pitch. So we've got input from the gate on the beat step, and output is going into the mixer. All I've done is tune the pitch so that it sits nicely in the rest of the mix. So let's have a listen to what the kick drum sounds like. So that just kind of sets the basic rhythm going for the track. What we next have is, I'm using 3 4046 VCOs to produce the drone sound. There's one on the end that stands on its own, and then there's my dual VCO, which I'll come to in a minute. The one that stands on its own, this again isn't going through any processing, and there's no CV input. What I've done, I've tuned on the frequency port the drone in. So let's have a listen. So that's it. That's basically the single drone on there. Now on the dual VCO, again I've tuned manually. There's no trigger, there's no kind of CV input or anything. It's simply taking the output into the mixer. So what we have one drone that's producing kind of a bass note. Now what I'm able to do with the dual VCO is, although I've only got one output, I can switch the second VCO in and patch them both into the same output. So now I can add a higher tone. So I've got a kind of a bass tone and a high tone on the drone, which I've just basically tuned manually. If I bring the single VCO back in, I now have a 3-drone chord, and that is it. Very simple, nothing fancy going on there at all. Okay, so that's the beat, the kick drum, and the drones providing a kind of a chord for the sound. So the main melody. Okay, so this gets a lot more complicated. So what I'm using for the main melody is the output on the AS3340 VCO, which incidentally is a tunable 1 volt per octave, but it still kind of gets a little bit unstable and is a bit of a pain to tune, and it drifts and all sorts of things, but it's good enough. It works. So I'm using the pulse width output, and that is going into a Vactrol VCA. Out of the Vactrol VCA, we're coming into the MS-20 style filter, out of the filter into the mixer. Okay, so this VCA is triggered from this envelope here, so that is providing the trigger and the shape for the basic note. What I do have on the 3340 is a pulse width modulation input. So the pulse width modulation input is coming from the LFO on my Project 9. So if I hold it down, you should hear like almost a tremolo. That's the LFO. So that's giving me the tremolo effect on the sound. On the filter, what I've got here is the CV input on the filter. Now this is being triggered by the envelope on Project 9. Now what I've done here, in order to share the trigger for the two envelopes, I'm taking the gate out from the key step, going into my patch bay, and then the patch bay is allowing me to share the same trigger signal for both of the envelopes. So that now gives me an envelope shape that I can control for the cutoff on the filter, but I can use a different envelope shape to trigger the Vactrol for the actual note. So this is basically what it sounds like. You can hear the tuning's probably drifted a little bit since I last set this up, so I haven't tweaked it. So anyway, so that's basically what the patches are. So most of the complicated stuff is going on in shaping the lead voice by using two separate envelopes to trigger both the VCA and the VCF, and then the pulse width of the lead voice is being modulated with the LFO output. So what happens when we put them all together? there, that's the Troika patch that I used for my Christmas message. Hope you can get a little bit of understanding as to how the sound was shaped and created.